Cinderella, cut it up one time.
Shine with Kendéll Lenice. Real talk for real people. Let's shine together.
All right, y'all. Welcome. Let's talk about sex. I know you heard a little bit of that in the intro, and that's what we will be talking about today. If this is your first time tuning into Shine, welcome. I am here every Wednesday, live at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, my name is Kendéll Lenice. I go by the name of Lady Motivator. I'm a transformational life coach, author, and speaker. My passion and my purpose is to educate, entertain, and help you elevate. And this is real talk, as you heard in my intro, real talk for real people. We can all shine together, and that's what we're going to do today. Again, if this is your first time tuning in to Shine and you're shining with me, Kendéll Lenice, I appreciate you so very much, and I'm glad that you took the time out to listen to my podcast. It means the world to me. If you don't catch us live at livingtruelivingyou.com, you can always listen wherever podcasts are played. That's everywhere these days. You can go to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. You can go to Spotify, iHeartRadio, and a whole lot more. I'm blessed and I'm thankful. I am the little podcast that could, like the little train that could. I started off on Spreaker, and I'm so proud that Apple picked me up, Google, Spotify, iHeartRadio. It just means I'm heading in the right direction. So please, subscribe now. Get on this little train now so you can say, I listened in the beginning. So subscribe to Shine with Kendéll Lenice. You can just search for it. And again, I air live on Wednesday evenings, and then it's uploaded to all the other platforms. So you can listen from your car. You can listen from the gym, from home, from work, wherever you can tune in, you can listen to Shine. All right, I'm so excited about today's show. As I said, we're going to be talking about sex and intimacy. Let's talk about sex. You guys know that song, right? By Salt and Pepper. All the old heads know that song. But before we get started, I want to start with my life note. Be right back. All right, it's time for this week's life note. All right, this week's life note is simple. Intimacy. Into me see. You see me, you know me, and you still choose me. Intimacy. So it's a little play on words. Into, INTOMESEE. I thought that was cute. So that is our life note for today. All right. So, excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm clearing my throat because this is about to be a great conversation. Why is it that people are afraid to discuss sex in an open forum? When the word sex is talked about, people tend to whisper. I believe if you don't talk about something, then it loses its importance. If you don't have sex, especially married sex, then your marriage won't last. Some are raised to not talk about sex, or not even to have sex, or to talk about anything sexual. They then grow up and become adults who shy away from the act and the conversation. Hopefully, after this show, your views will change. I am pleased to have my guest for this show because I'm all about informing you guys and bringing you the real. And if I'm not a professional or expert in some areas, I'm going to have somebody on here that is an expert. So I'm pleased today to have an expert on this show. So before we get started, or before I even introduce, I should say continue, before I introduce my guest, I want to read her amazing bio because I want you to see that she is qualified to do this show. So Cain is a passionate clinical sexologist, certified sex and relationship coach, and certified cognitive behavioral life coach who is dedicated to educating and empowering individuals about sexuality. Throughout the span of her over 2 decades, Cain has gained extensive knowledge in the field of sexuality. She also is a member of the World Association of Sex and Coaches and remains a lifelong student of learning. I love that. Her goal is to normalize sex and to teach people how to achieve the sexual fulfillment we all deserve. Her nurturing and caring nature fosters environments free of judgment we all deserve. Free of judgment, shame, guilt, and always welcoming to all. Currently, Cain serves as the owner of Romantic Discovery, where she leads educational interactive workshops, group coaching sessions, conversation parties, which I love, and facilitates online training programs. She also provides coaching services to those seeking assistance with their sexual concerns and relationship challenges. Cain currently resides in Detroit, Michigan, the D. When she isn't coaching and teaching, Cain loves spending quality time with her amazing family. She has been happily married, y'all, for 30 years. So she knows a little something on the personal side too. And she is a proud mother and grandmother. Let's welcome Cain to Shine. Cain, thank you for shining with me.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
I'm excited about this show. I don't know if you heard the intro, but I want to, like we were just talking about, we're probably going to run out of time because this is a great subject, as you know. So we're already talking about possibly having a part 2. We're actually talking about that. Welcome. Thank you for accepting my invite to do Shine. It means the world to me. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. I loved your spirit the moment we connected because we were laughing at the same things. I'm like, okay, Cain is all right with me.
Yes.
So look, you might hear some pages turning because I got a whole lot of notes. And I have some some listener questions and people from my social media platform. So you'll hear some pages turning today because anytime I do a show, I like to be informed. And if I'm not completely informed on a subject, I research. And if I can't research everything I need to know, then I have somebody like Cain coming on. All right, so let's get right into it. Why do you think it's difficult for some women to talk about sex, even amongst themselves with other women? Why do you think that that's an issue or isn't an issue?
It's absolutely an issue. I think it really involves social conditioning. I think it's the way we were raised.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us have been told, good girls don't do that. We don't talk about those things.
Mm-hmm.
Where a person with a penis, they're almost encouraged and celebrated. They're expected to masturbate. They're expected to go out and get, multiple partners. But when it comes to a woman, we're supposed to be clean and virgins until we get married. We're not supposed to, talk about it. A lot of times, or a lot of women that I speak to, they have a lot of shame and guilt around sexuality.
Mm-hmm.
They have questions, but they're nervous about it. They're even nervous about touching themselves through masturbation. So that has a lot to do with it. And then also, it could be religion. It could be if in your household it was something that was looked at shameful or something that was, said, oh, we don't talk about that. That's not something we talk about. And, it could be unspoken. It doesn't necessarily mean that your parent actually told you that.
Right.
It could be implied.
And I also think, too,
that's what happens.
Yeah, and I also think, too, when we start children off, like, not really naming body parts, It's almost a shaming type, like, oh, my grandmother used to say, oh, your pocketbook, when it was vagina,
yes.
Or, oh, your TTs and your ha-has and your doo-doos and all of this. And I think that it almost is like, if you say vagina, if you say penis, then those are bad words. And I think that conditioning starts when we're young.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. But, if you've been told not to say that, like you said, you put shame on it.
Mm-hmm.
You put that it's bad. So as we grow, we adopt that and we take that with us. So as we get older, we don't talk about it. We won't talk about it with our girlfriends. And this is a subject that we really do need to normalize. We need to talk about so we can know that, yes, we are normal. And even like you talked about vagina and penises, I talked to several people, and we talked about the difference between vagina and vulva. And what I learned was that many of us don't know the difference between the two.
Well, let's tell the audience today what the difference is, and thank you for even talking about that.
Absolutely. Okay, so your vagina, your vulva, when you look down at your genitals, what you're looking at is your vulva. So the vulva encompasses everything. It encompasses your inner and outer lips. It encompasses your vaginal opening. It encompasses the mons, which is the area where the pubic hair grows. Mm-hmm. It also is your clitoris. Your vagina is actually the birthing canal. It's where we have our periods. It's where the baby comes through. It's the opening. But we've been conditioned to say vagina, but it's really not vagina, it's vulva. Isn't
that something? And then also you just said genitals. And a lot of people hear genitals when they're talking about men. I've heard people say, well, I don't have genitals as a woman. So how did that get confused somehow?
I'm not exactly sure, but I think that goes back to our social conditioning. It's just the same way vagina and vulva. Mm-hmm. I never heard the word vulva.
Me
I have
either.
This conversation all the time.
Wow.
And because I was telling the story of me talking to my granddaughter about washing her vulva, and someone asked me, well, why did you say vulva? And I had to explain to them the difference. But we think, okay, that's our vagina. No, it's not our vagina. Our vagina is internal and our vulva is external. That's the difference between the two.
So when you're having sex, where does the penis go?
Goes inside of our vagina if you're having intercourse. But if he's licking you or touching you, it could be on the vulva, on the clitoris.
And that's not the vagina.
So
I know everybody just dropped their phones because they're like, oh, shoot. What?
And so if he's stimulating you, if your partner is stimulating you internally, so say he's manually stimulating you with his fingers. Mm-hmm. So if he's sticking his fingers inside or stimulating your G-spot, he is in fact inside of your vagina. If he's rubbing on your lips, if he's licking your lips, if he's doing things like that, he's licking the whole area, that would be your vulva.
You just heard the whole nation just gasped. Because you're not really taught that. Like I'm 48 years old and I never heard that. I mean, I've heard of vulva, but I never heard it broken down like that. And I think a lot of people, like you said, because you do grow up as if sex is wrong and, your body is wrong and cover this up and move this over and don't do this and don't say that. It does form a shame around sexuality in sex. It really, really does. And like I was saying earlier, some women don't even talk about it amongst themselves. And I think that they're doing everybody a disservice in that a sister circle per se, not talking about it.
I totally agree with that.
And I'm not even...
And then...
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. I was just going to say, I'm not talking about being like totally graphic about your sex life. I'm just talking about talking about sex.
But even that, I think that's what made me start doing conversation parties, actually. Because as you follow me on Instagram, I am very graphic. I'm very graphic, but I try to do it in a very welcoming and I try to normalize it in no matter what the subject is.
Yeah, but it does make you blush, and it's crazy. Why does it make us blush? Like, why?
Because it was something that we're not supposed to be doing. It's something we're not supposed to be doing. I'm telling you, even I'll ask women, have you ever looked at your vagina? Have you ever looked at your vulva? Have you looked at, well, absolutely not, Cain. And I'm like, well, why not? Because I feel weird. I said, you feel weird about yourself?
Right.
You feel weird about looking at yourself? And I ask people, let's kind of explore that and think about that for a minute. And the same holds true with masturbation. There's a lot of stigma surrounding masturbation. And I get a lot of people, so I have to work with reframing, but a lot of women who will say, I can't do it, Cain. It doesn't feel right. I just can't do it. I said, okay, but this is your body. This is your gift, but you want somebody else to touch it, but we can't touch it ourselves. How will you ever learn about yourself?
Or explain what you like or what you don't like because you don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then that creates a problem in relationships because then you're expecting someone to please you and you don't even know what pleases you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why I always say masturbation is the foundation of partner sex, because that's how you learn about yourself and that's how you articulate that to your partner. And then also kind of going back to what we had talked about, with what we're conditioned and what we're brought up to believe, like save yourself for your marriage. Okay, you're supposed to stay a virgin, but then when you get married, you're supposed to know what to do to please your partner. But we can't talk about it.
Right, or not even have an open conversation about it, even if you're not having sex, or even when you get married.
Definitely.
Some married folks can't even have that conversation about sex. It seems even weird at that point because it's a buildup. Like you're supposed to wait till you get married biblically, and then you wait, and then you're sitting in the room looking at him, he's looking at you, and you don't even know how the conversation begins. So I want to talk about the big O. So are you supposed to have orgasms every time you have sex? Is that something that's supposed to happen?
There's no such thing as supposed to.
I love that.
There's no such thing. No, there's no such thing as supposed to. We all are very different. There are some people who are pre-orgasmic. There are women who have yet to experience orgasm, or maybe they can experience orgasm by themselves, but they can't experience orgasm with their partner.
I've heard
that. A lot
that.
of things that I talk about is, I'm sorry.
No, I said I've heard that. Yep.
Oh yeah. And see, what happens is that we go into sexuality chasing this orgasm. So when you're chasing an orgasm, you're not in your body, you're in your head. So you want to take the time to feel what's going on in your body, feel the pleasure that's going on, feel the touch, and then you'll get to the orgasm if you're able to experience an orgasm. But no, there is no supposed to, there is no right or wrong way with sexuality. And that's why people think they're not normal, because they want to compare themselves to other people.
And that's a big no-no.
Yes, absolutely. So when it comes to orgasm, as I said, I get many questions of women who have yet to experience an orgasm. They just can't do it. And then I have other women who have orgasms with no problem. They have orgasms every time. Or maybe they've had orgasms in the past, but now they've been in this long-term relationship and they're no longer having orgasms.
Now, can you climax and not have an orgasm, or does that work the same?
Well, climax is, those words are kind of used interchangeably.
Okay.
Are you talking about ejaculating in orgasm, or are you specifically talking climax in orgasm?
Just the climax is the plateau, and that is, can you climax and hit that plateau without having an orgasm, or it works the same?
That's the same. Yes,
okay.
That's the same.
Okay. And
but you can ejaculate. A woman can ejaculate and squirt without having an orgasm, though.
Okay. Because somebody asked that, and I said, I believe that's the same, but I'm going to ask the expert.
No, it's two different things. It's two separate things.
But climaxing and orgasms are the same.
Yes.
Okay. I did give that answer. I was like, let me make sure I was right. I gotta check. Okay, so what's the biggest misconception about sex you hear the most as a sexologist and sex coach?
I would say it's a few things. That every person can orgasm, and that the sex isn't good if we don't orgasm. That there's something wrong if the penis size isn't if the penis is not a certain size. That's a really, really big.
And that's the age-old question. So does size really matter?
You know, it really does not matter. It really has to do with, now we all have our preference. Let me back up a little bit.
Because somebody's talking to the phone right now.
We all have our preference. However, if you have a skillful partner that knows what they're doing, they can actually give you pleasure. So the vagina, the most sensitive part of the vagina is the first third of the vagina, which means 3 inches. So, like, the first 3 inches is the most sensitive part of the vagina. So, if the person has about a 3-inch penis, they can't satisfy you.
You know what? You little penis men, you look at that. Look at that. They're like, yeah. You know, and it's so funny because I've never heard it said that way. I've never heard it said that way. And hopefully everybody has at least 3.
Well, there are some who don't. I'm actually going to be doing something on my page because I've been getting some questions about micro penises, which is under 2 inches. So there are people who have less than 2 inches. Yes.
So what do they do in that case if the first 3 inches is where a woman receives pleasure? What do men do if they're not 3 inches or more? Well,
pleasure just doesn't come from intercourse, and that's what we've been conditioned to believe. So we've been conditioned to believe that if the penis is in a certain size, if the penis is not hard, if that sex is over, and that's not the case.
Right.
This is where you need to be creative.
Right.
This is where creativity comes into play.
Right. I love that.
So what I would do is teach. Okay, these are the things that you can do to bring your partner pleasure. You know, and sometimes you might have to put your ego aside. If your partner desires a deeper penetration, you may have to incorporate toys like a strap-on. You have to be very skillful with manual stimulation with your fingers. Understand what the G-spot is, have very good oral sex skills. So there's things that you can do that bring pleasure. It's not just putting the penis in the vagina.
Right.
And we think that. Think that, but what happens when we get older?
Right.
Things change.
Right. That's right. That's right. You talked about the G-spot twice. And for those that don't know, can you tell our audience what the G-spot actually is? Because I know they've heard about it, but they may not know what it is necessarily.
Okay, I'll talk about it. It's actually called the Grafenberg spot, and it is that is a location that can be stimulated to trigger orgasm. It can trigger ejaculation or squirting, things like that. So it's a pleasurable point for female-bodied people. So where it's located is about 2 to 3 inches inside of the vagina. You want to point up toward the navel, and you'll feel something that kind of feels like corduroy or the roof of your mouth. It feels differently from the surrounding tissue, and you want to stimulate that area. And when you stimulate that area, like say, for example, maybe 2 fingers doing the come here motion while giving oral sex, that could be very, very pleasurable for a woman. Also, if you're engaging in intercourse, if you are doing positions where you kind of tilt the penis toward the navel, you can hit the G-spot, and that could be very pleasurable. Now, everyone don't find the G-spot pleasurable. Some do, some don't. That goes back to there is no normal.
Right, and it's about knowing your body, like you were saying earlier.
Absolutely.
So yes. You are teaching right now. I love that because I think it's important to be informed. So what is the biggest difference between men and women when it comes to sexual appetite? Is there a difference?
Well, there's a myth that says that men are more sexually, their sexual desire is bigger than women's, which is not necessarily true. You know, it depends on the person. It depends on the situation. There's a lot of things that impact our sexual desire. So, you know what I'm saying? So when it comes to sexual desire, it goes back to your age. When we age, it changes. It goes back to the dynamic of your relationship. Are you in a really good relationship? Are you having a good sex life? If you're having a bad sex, most people don't want to have sex. You know, they avoid it.
That part,
that's one reason. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's one reason for low desire is if you're not being satisfied sexually or the person is coming in 1 minute, you want to avoid it.
Right, because you don't even want to be disappointed at that point again.
Absolutely.
And then children, finances. Right. Then children, finances. Right. Because you're like, well, why? And there's a lot of moving parts in that. But yeah, I guess you have a point. If it's not enjoyable, then you're trying to avoid it. And you're trying to not even go through that. You know, although I've heard some people say that they don't care if it lasts. I've heard a lot of women, you know, say that on different occasions, that it can be a couple of minutes for me because I don't want to go a marathon. I don't want to go a half hour or an hour or, you know, even 10 minutes. I just want that. And is that because they don't enjoy sex, or because, you know, they just have a busy life and they don't feel like doing that? Or is if it was enjoyable, you think that they would?
I think that if it was enjoyable, if it's become mundane, if they haven't had, if they don't feel intimacy in the relationship, if there's no foreplay, if there's no attention to what that person needs, then they're basically in the check mark. Okay, I've had sex with you for the week.
Right, just to say they did it.
I've done my deed.
See, yeah, and I don't like that. Then it becomes a deed.
Exactly. Yeah. It becomes a chore.
Yeah.
And you want to, and that's one of the things that I work with people on is, okay, what would make this enjoyable? How was it when you first got together? You know, did you have this when you first got together? But a lot of times, and I've heard that, just what you're saying from people, but oftentimes it's grounded in, I want to hurry up and get this over with.
Yeah.
They really don't really want to do it a lot of times.
Right.
They just do it as a form of, this is my duty as a wife or as a partner.
I've heard that a lot. They feel like just to count off the tickers, like we did it 3 times this week and it might not have been enjoyable, but just to say you did it. It almost reminds me like when I would tell my kids when they were pursuing something, not sex, but don't do it just to do it. Do it because it has meaning and you're giving it your all and you're doing your best. And I think that applies to sex with your spouse as well.
Absolutely. And so that couple would be a couple that would come to me.
Wow, trying to figure it out.
I would. Yeah, to try to figure it out and see, okay, what can we do? And then, you know, I kind of help guide them through the process. But you can either keep your sex life like this, or why not talk about it and let's get it out and let's find direction to make it pleasurable. Right.
Especially if you're married. Especially if that's, you know, something that you want to do if you're in a committed relationship. So how adventurous should you, and I know that should word, but should you be when it comes to married sex?
You're asking the sex coach that.
Yeah, because I know look, like they say, I know your sex life is lit.
Well, you know, again,
put it this way. Look, Cain, let me just pause you for a second, because I'm not going to a hairstylist whose hair is jacked up or a nail tech whose nails are chewed up. You get what I'm saying? So I know.
Absolutely. Let me put it like this. Let me talk about me. I personally subscribe to, we don't really have, we can talk about anything.
Mm-hmm.
Anything.
I love that.
It doesn't matter what it is. And it doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to do it, but we can have a conversation about it and explore it together and see if there's something that maybe we can do. But we don't really, I don't believe within the marriage, I think that you set the boundaries for what you will and won't do.
Yeah.
And it's funny because today I met with an old friend who I hadn't seen in years, and he mentioned that, you know, he met his wife in the church. We all went to the same church, and she has so many limitations because of the church. She said, oh, no, that's porn sex. We can't do that because that's porn sex. And I said, porn sex? And he said, yeah, but when he can convince her to do it, she enjoys it, but she associates anything outside of missionary or what would be societal's idea of normal sex as porn sex.
See, and I have a male friend that is experiencing that. Almost the same scenario. So what do you do, Cain, in that case? Like, and that's interesting. Porn, sex. So if it's anything other than missionary, then it's considered like far out and crazy.
Yes. So that's when we're really exploring, where did they get this messaging from? Where did you get the messaging from? Why do you feel that way? And then we work on reframing and introducing other things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really kind of getting to the root cause of what's going on. But again, it goes back to our religious upbringing, because I know, I was told stated to marriage.
Oh, definitely. Me too. Me too. Definitely. But for those just tuning in, she's been married for 30 years. So that's saying a lot. But yeah, a lot of people aren't, let's just keep it real. A lot of people aren't waiting until they get married. They aren't. Biblically you should, but people aren't doing it. And then when they are, getting into a marriage and they're having sex, like you said, that the church lady wouldn't do it because it was porn sex. But then you have people that had, enormous sexual appetites or had a lot of sex in their single days, and then they go to the married days and then they expect it to be the same, or vice versa, or, that they were doing it so much then and doing tricks and all of that, and then now they're worn out by now. So how does someone pick back up their libido, so to speak?
The thing is that when it comes to relationships as itself and our sexual expression, it takes effort. People think that they live in this fantasy world, and I've been married a long time, and I tell people it's not always perfect. And yes, you have to put effort into it. You have to. So when it comes to that, you need to bring novelty into the relationship. Do things different. So, for example, if you always have sex in the bedroom, do it on the stairway. Mm-hmm. Do it on. It doesn't have to be super major. It depends on what you feel comfortable with. Do it in the living room on the couch. Maybe you may feel like it's being a little risky because you're in an open part of the house.
Right.
Do it in the car before, like my garage is attached to my house. So pull in and do it in the car if you want to.
All right.
You know what I mean? But,
switch it up a bit. That's what you're saying. Mm-hmm.
You can incorporate toys.
Mm-hmm.
Those are wonderful. I talk about, they have Bluetooth vibrators now. So
really?
Say, for instance, if you guys go, yes, they do. And say, for instance, you guys go out to dinner, give your hubby the vibrator and sit there and hold a conversation while y'all eat dinner. And
I did hear about
I can think of a little secret.
Yeah, I did hear about those. I was watching something and somebody was buzzing the wife, and she was, But that's so cool. But you got to keep it fresh. You got to spice it up a bit. You got to turn that staleness around and really, and really get to know your partner or re-know your partner. All right, so
there's a reality.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, there's a reality. With me being married 30 years, we found, last year we found a new position. The year before that, we found a new.
Wait, hold up. So after 30 years of having sex with the same person, you found new ways to have sex.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
See, you know what? You just gave listeners, she just gave you hope. If you've been married 2 months and you're doing it the same way, and you feel like there are no other, ways or positions to do it. She's been married 30 years, and she said her and her husband found new ways to have sex. I love that. I love that. New positions, I should say, or I don't want to say new ways, but new, I guess new
ways too.
Okay. Oh, okay then. I didn't want to put words in your mouth completely. I was like, I think she said new ways, but all right. So I have some questions. This is so crazy. We have 10 minutes left. We might have to do a part 2. I don't know if you want to do it tonight or we can wait till next week, but good grief. All right, so I'm going to try to get through as many questions as I can. So can we kind of rapid fire the questions?
Sure.
Just to make sure they're all in. All right. Is it normal to pass gas during sex, and why?
I mean, you're pushing air. It's possible, yeah. If you're tilted up and your butt is in the air, it's possible that you can pass gas. And also, we have what they call the quote-unquote vaginal farts that come out as well. Queef is what the official word is a queef.
I think every woman has experienced that once or twice. I just think. I mean, yeah. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that.
It happens. It happens.
It's a body.
Laugh and keep pushing, keep on pumping.
And that's what I'm saying. But that's the thing, though, Cain, because people are real people and real things happen. And this is your body's moving and bumping, and that's just a part of it. And I know someone, and the person that asked this question, I know she said she was humiliated, and I was like, you know what? It's a part of life. It's a natural part of life. The next question,
laugh and
and keep going. Don't miss the beat. so, oh gosh, and I have 8 more questions. Okay, so how do you know? And we got to keep them short. So how do I know if I had an orgasm? That's the question.
Okay, an orgasm is a series of involuntary contractions. Okay, so it's a feeling of contractions in your vagina, and it could be actually in your entire genital area. So it could be small, it can be bigger. It just depends. But you will know. It's a distinct difference. You will know because it's the contractions that you cannot control.
Contractions that you cannot control. All right. Can you tell me?
It's involuntary.
And can you tell men how important it is to have foreplay? Also, how long should it last?
Oh my goodness. Yes. Foreplay is extremely important for women. Women need at least about 20 minutes to warm up. There's something called vaginal tinting occurs because sometimes men may go in and have sex with their partners and it might be painful. And the reason why that is because you have not given her body time to arouse. She's not lubricated thoroughly and the tinting has not occurred. Tinting means that the uterus and cervix lifts up, which allows space for the penis to enter the vagina. And that's what makes it more comfortable, and that's what helps with our orgasm as well.
So women need 20 minutes of foreplay. Got it. I'm taking notes.
At least.
At least. Okay. So is married sex better than single sex?
I think it depends. If you don't have a good relationship, if y'all barely talk, there's no intimacy, and he's a selfish lover, no.
Right. It depends. Look, enough said on that one. All right. So how often is normal to have sex? So how many times, I think they're asking, how many times should a couple have sex out of the week? How many times do you think? And how many times, Cain, do you have sex a week?
Okay. There is no normal. But I can say if you have if you have sex less than 10 times a year, you are in a sexless marriage. Okay. But if you are happy having sex less than 10 times a year, it's perfectly fine. Okay. So you set what you want to do. Inside of my marriage, we have very, very busy lives. We plan sex. We have standing appointments for sex. So
you have like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 10. Yep. You really, I think that's a good idea. Mm-hmm.
Because when you're busy, you have children, you're working, you're running a business, my husband travels, you don't have time. So we make sure that we make it a priority in our life to schedule time to be intimate. Now, that doesn't mean that that's the only time that we can have sex. Right. We may say, okay, these 2 to 3 times. Right. This is our time. We schedule nothing in that time. Right. But if we want to get it in other time, that's fine too.
Right. So the next question, my wife and I don't have sex. Does this mean it's the end for us?
Do they not have sex because that's a choice? Is it menopause? Is there problems? That's a big question.
Right, that is a big question. Yeah.
That's a really big question. My answer, though, is always no. There is no end if you don't want it to be.
I know that's right.
You can always work through any limitations you have. You can work through them. Even if she's past menopause and maybe she's having problems with vaginal or challenges with vaginal secretion, if he can't get an erection, you can still have sex. Amazing sex.
Wow.
It just looks different.
And I think people, and I'm glad that you said that, because I think people have this image or vision in their mind on what sex should be and how it should look. So I love that you said that. All right, so I'm 35 and I'm a virgin. Is sex all it's cracked up to be?
It depends. It depends on who you're with. It depends on who your partner is.
Yeah.
You know, it depends on your connection with your partner. Sex can be amazing when you have a connection with someone.
Yeah.
Sex can be amazing sometimes with a one-night stand. It just depends on, it just depends.
Right.
But
it depends on that connection. Yeah.
If she's waited that long, she can make it what she wants, but she has to understand her body.
Yeah.
So that she can articulate that to her partner.
Yeah.
What she likes and what she doesn't.
And sex, like you said, sex and a connection is different, and everybody is not the same person in every sexual relationship either. Different chemistries bring out different things. All right, so if I don't like my body, can sex still be enjoyable? And I know how that is when your body changes as you get older, or things change in your life and you don't feel like that sex kitten. Or is it still enjoyable if a man is covering up, the woman is covering up? Can you still enjoy it?
Well, that does hinder your ability to enjoy it, but that doesn't mean that can't change. That's just making a choice to accept who we are.
Right.
And I understand, and I'm just going to be very candid. My weight fluctuates a lot. I'm a thick girl, so my weight fluctuates a lot, and I can remember, this is a little graphic, but I can remember being with my husband, and I couldn't see his face because my stomach was in the way.
That's a lot of people, like a lot of amen corners and high fives on that one sometimes. Hey, that's real. That's honest. It's honest.
It's honest. This happened. But did my husband care? Absolutely not.
He just moved that belly over.
He moved that. He lifted up. He got it. Breathed through his other nostrils.
He was like, "Don't even worry, baby. I got this."
He got this.
Oh.
He got this. But a lot of times we put the pressure on ourselves. And sometimes our partner is not looking. Sometimes they are, but many times they are not.
Okay.
So we have to accept who we are.
Okay. So I want to continue to talk to Coach Cain. So if we can just continue on part 2, we're going to record that and come on live. Do you have another about half hour?
I actually need to reschedule.
Okay. And I was going, I didn't want to let the people down, and I shouldn't have asked you on air. So I appreciate that. The girl she's booked and busy. She has sex schedule right now, so she.
But that does help you go to sleep.
Right. Night. All right. So, gosh, we have 1 minute left, but Coach Cain, we're going to have her back for part 2 because there are a lot more questions. There are lots. I can't even talk now. There's so much more. But thank you so much and for shining with me. I greatly appreciate you for this. I really, really do.
You are so very welcome, and I really appreciate you reaching out and having me on your show. I love it. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Can you tell the people real quick in about 30 seconds how they can get in touch with you, website, social media, all of that good stuff?
Yes, absolutely. My website is www.romanticdiscovery.com, and you can see me on Instagram at sexcoachcain. That's CAIN. That's at sexcoachcain on Instagram.
Thank you so much, and I'm going to have her back, I promise. So if you have questions, send them to livingtruelivingyou@gmail.com. Thank you so much, Coach Cain. God bless.
Thank you.
Shine with Kendéll Lenice. Real talk for real people. Let's shine together.